Spider-Man is not afraid of the holiday season, but if you really think about it, all there really is are toys and clothes for Spider-Man that are centered around the holidays. Now, we have the Spider-Man Holiday Spectacular 2025, and it's got me thinking, what other Spider-Man Christmas comics and episodes are there? So I've challenged myself to read through every single Spider-Man Christmas issue ever, so I can get in the Christmas spirit. And there's no better place to start than...
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
Starting off strong with an unrelated comic that takes place around Christmas. So that's nice. Peter is at the beach taking photos for the Bugle when the Sandman appears, who looks better when he's wearing a green striped shirt. But when fighting Peter, he escapes after finding out it's Christmas. Peter goes to the Baxter building and meets up with his good old pal Johnny Storm. Peter tells Johnny about the Sandman. They go out and they stop some crimes and start beefing. When they finally spot the Sandman, they both want to one-up each other. But during the battle, they learn to fight as one before they get knocked out by Sandman, drowning both of them and leaving. But they break out with some quick thinking and go after the Sandman, who's at his mother's house to see her on Christmas Eve. Peter sees Sandman's mom and reminds him of his Aunt May and gives the Sandman the gift he had for Gwen. They gave him 5 minutes with his mother, but right after he would go back into custody. After the 5 minutes are over, they go in to get him, but he had left through the sink. In the end, Spider-Man and Johnny go their own ways. Not too bad a start. Felt weird seeing Peter and Johnny not like each other, but it was solid.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
It opens with a mugger stealing a woman's present before he gets stopped by the Spider-Man. The mugger gets away after swindling the police and the woman he stole from. By then, Peter goes to the Bugle, tells May he won't be coming to Christmas this year, which upsets May. Bobby invites Peter over for dinner, but Peter has already swung off. We see a mall Santa asking kids for their addresses, which was alluded to earlier, while Peter sits at home calling everyone he knows, Harry and MJ. Peter gets a call from the Black Cat, who hangs up without saying a word. Black Cat then goes out and stops some robbers while the Santa burglar is in the house next door. Peter's senses wake him up, and he goes to stop him, but before Peter can catch up to him, the real Santa Claus comes to take him away. It turns out that Santa had sent the fake Santa to the Bugle to give back everything he had stolen, and gives Peter a letter from Santa to go see his aunt, with Peter, May, and MJ having Christmas breakfast together, while two people are outside plotting to kill them. What? It was a fairly normal issue until the real Santa Claus shows up and some guys were plotting to murder them. It's a solid issue, but it's obviously tied into a bunch of other stories, which I haven't read. It's just a filler issue reminding people what storylines are happening. It was still solid, but these are just appetizers until we get to Spectacular Spider-Man.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
Judging by the cover alone, you can tell we're in for a treat. Peter and MJ get evicted. Gotta be one heck of a story. And it starts with exactly that. Peter and MJ get evicted because of another storyline I don't know about, but Peter and MJ are now homeless. They're thinking of places they could stay, with Peter not wanting to live with May again, wanting to prove that he's a grown man and show his independence. There isn't a lot that happens in this one, mainly just Peter walking around moping in the fact that he's homeless. The bad guy is the accountant who's gonna kill his boss for making him work on Christmas, but Spider-Man stops him, and there's another person dressed as Santa, so that's nice. Peter and MJ move in with May, and they have a very Merry Christmas. Again, this one was just Peter moping around and being sad. The villain sucked, but it's still alright. If you're into Peter being depressed, go for it, but I personally didn't care for it all that much.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
I don't like Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, just because all online copies look like shit. I have to squint my eyes and zoom in just to read a single word from it. But Doc Ock comes out of a submarine, kills 3 people, and goes to visit Aunt May. Peter webs up a few people who are mugging a guy dressed as Santa, because there's always one, before some guy records it to sell to Jameson as Spider-Man assaults innocent kids out for holiday fun. At the Bugle, Peter loses his cool and shoves the guy to the ground after he said some shit about MJ. Peter goes home where he sees Doc Ock at the window staring at May, starting a fight between them. with May walking outside, seeing them fight, with Otto walking away all sad. Another fine Christmas issue. I liked Otto seeing May as the only person who ever saw him as Dr. Octavius and not Dr. Octopus. I like this one a lot, actually. I also really like this one panel.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
Not Spider-Man specifically, but he has his own segment. So I'll talk about just his segment, which is called A Spider-Man Carol. Peter helps an ambulance get through traffic when he's on his way to the hospital. Peter's taking photos of the Bugle's donation of $1 million to the hospital. The kids there are extremely bored, so Peter decides to help them out by getting his good friend Spider-Man over to entertain the kids. And then he gets kicked out by Jameson. Meanwhile, some thugs are breaking into the hospital, going up to the children's floor because that's where they keep the safe. Which, I don't think hospitals have safes. While Spider-Man was there, some of the kids recollect of the time Spider-Man had saved them, forcing Jameson to let Spider-Man stay, and Spider-Man stops the robbers. This one was alright. Another one I didn't really care for. It was really short, but that's because it's like an anthology comic. But it was fine, I guess.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
There are 10 of these, and 9 of them include Spider-Man. So that's great. I'm just going to speed through them when I get to them, because they're each like 5 pages. It starts with Peter and MJ going to the Rockefeller tree being lit up, when Electro attacks. Peter stops him and lights the tree back up.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
Peter sees an angel fall from the sky. He goes to hell, gets his soul taken by Mephisto, gets it back, and is sent home by the angel.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
This one is a single page, despite the cover being entirely Spider-Man. I don't need to sum anything up, you can just look at the photo. You can pause if you like.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
Is a 5-issue anthology of Spider-Man holiday stories, with the first being A Matter of Faith, featuring Ben Reilly saving a woman who jumped off a bridge when she didn't want to be saved.
Mr. Sandweek didn't ask to be saved. Mr. Sandweek didn't want to be saved.
Spider-Man shows her how much she really matters, with her saving the life of a man while Spider-Man fights the Scorcher. The woman goes on to volunteer at the homeless shelter, and Ben goes off to save people. I think it's Ben. I don't know, the Clone Saga gets confusing. The next story is The Cat Who Stole Christmas, where the black cat is stealing toys from a toy factory and giving them to an orphanage. It's like 3 pages, I don't really care for it. The third is The Venom Claws. Venom sees a street Santa whimpering after being mugged, so Venom takes form of the Santa and waits to be attacked. He beats up the thugs and is about to kill them when a woman convinces him to spare them. So he does and swings off in his little Santa hat. Companion is about Willie, the Spider-Man character you've never heard of. He was the mailman at the Baxter building. He was dating May before she died. And he's at her grave grieving over her death when he meets a grieving widow and they go out Christmas shopping because I don't know. Final story is Merry Christmas, Mr. Storm. Peter meets up with Johnny Storm on the Statue of Liberty, with Johnny venting to Peter, who almost reveals his identity before Johnny stops him. They exchange gifts and Peter leaves. Then Ben shows up and talks to Johnny. Yes, the Clone Saga is happening during this. Yes, they want you to know that. Overall, pretty good special issue, and I had a good time reading it. I'd recommend it to you if I didn't just explain all of it, but if you're a fan of Willie and the Clone Saga, go for it.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
It starts with Peter taking photos of Jameson giving out toys for children. Jameson is being a jerk and gives Peter a Christmas bonus that was counterfeit, and is mistreating Peter the whole time. After, Spider-Man is following Jameson, planning to web him up to a lamppost or something, waste an hour of his time, but is accidentally buried under a building with Jameson, whilst unmasked. Peter, with some quick thinking, uses his last bit of webbing to cover his face. Peter tries to convince Jameson to help get them out, but Jameson knows that his webbing dissolves after an hour, so they wait for 43 minutes until Jameson gives in because Peter swore he would never tell a soul that he had saved him. Jameson saved Peter when a rescue team comes to save them, with it being blasted on other newspapers, with Jameson buying all of them so no one would see them. It's fine. I like the Roadrunner reference. He's cool.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
It's snowing over New York, and Peter's got the day off school when he's called to shovel Aunt May's driveway. Apparently, it's the coldest day in New York history, and everything's closed, including transit. So Peter has to swing over to May's. Some police are being attacked by the Vulture when Peter runs into a few kids who throw snowballs at him. Peter gets attacked by the Vulture. They fight, with Peter carrying his bag of jewels. Vulture tells Peter they will end this once and for all at the site of their first battle. Peter goes there and is greeted by the Vulture, who has a gun. He holds it to Peter's skull until Johnny shows up and helps. Vulture falls after his wings catch on fire and just dies. They were like incredibly high up, and he just fell. He's dead, dude. He's dead. Bit of a shorter one. It's kind of uninteresting, mainly because I don't like Vulture half the time, but it was all right.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
Peter is leaving a Christmas party at the Bugle when he sees a group of orphans out in the cold. He takes them back to the party and leaves to go get Spider-Man toys for the kids. Meanwhile, Fantastic Four are trying to find Sue's cousin, Medusa, to get her home for the holidays, and Flash Thompson is dressing up as Spider-Man to entertain some kids. These two guys are brainwashing people to give them their money when one of them reveals that they're Medusa. They hypnotize Flash, who's still dressed as Spider-Man, and they start fighting Sue and her friends. Peter gets there and helps stop her. The rest of the Fantastic Four come, and the Thing punched Peter, who hits Santa, who turns out to be the Puppet Master, who's hypnotized Medusa and Flash. They lock up Puppet Master, and Mary Jane finally gets home. And yeah. I really like this one. It did its job as a wholesome Christmas special. It could just be the art style talking, but filmed with a solid amount of Christmas spirit. Pretty good.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
Jonah's Holiday Carol. It's a Christmas carol, but with Jameson.
Alright, I get it!
Jameson is terribly mistreating his employees when he dozes off in the break room and gets visited by the ghost of Norman Osborn. Osborn warns Jonah that he's in grave danger and to listen to the warnings of the three spirits coming to see him. The first of which being Captain America, Jonah's childhood hero. He reminds Jonah of the time he was a kid and actually admired costume heroes, back before a masked gunman killed his first wife. Captain America leaves, and Jameson is now being visited by the Thing, who shows him how the Fantastic Four celebrate Christmas, and shows him Parker's family, who are waiting for Peter to show up so then they can start the festivities. Jonah now knows how his mistreatment of Peter is affecting his family, and more importantly, him. With Peter in danger at the scene Jonah sent him to, and finally, his own son avoiding him during the holidays. With Jameson thinking he was out of town, he's then visited by Spider-Man, who shows him the graves of the Avengers who died at the docks, and Jameson assumes that Peter did too, because that's where Peter is. I should have mentioned that. He sees that everyone around Peter is miserable, with May falling into a deep depression and Mary Jane becoming her full-time caregiver. He shows him that the good guys are losing at the docks. Finally, Jonah sees that John has become homeless, which is the final straw for Jonah. He wakes up, runs out, and hears that the heroes won and that Peter was still alive. He gives Peter a bonus of $10 and is greeted by his son John. This one's really good. I like that we see more of Jonah actually liking heroes and diving more into why he hates them now. It's a very good story. You should check it out.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
The Avengers are having a party at Strange's mansion, with a hero named Gravity outside trying to get in. Meanwhile, a girl builds a Santa robot who goes rogue and wants to kill the Avengers. Finally, they let Gravity into the building when the Santa robot arrives, and it turns out it's actually Ultron. Gravity is the only one who is able to get at Ultron initially, but is quickly kicked away. Peter and Hank Pym bait him with a cookie, cause Santa. And they visit the girl who made the Santa robot, and they have a happily Merry Christmas after. It was alright. I wish Gravity got more to do. They cut away to him way too much until he actually got in. But it was fine though.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
We're skipping one because Peter's not in that one. Wolverine finds a Sentinel in the sewers, being controlled by another goddamn mall Santa. Meanwhile, Peter's trying to get to May's Christmas party with the cake. Peter's swinging to get to May's when Wolverine is thrown at him. Peter joins the fight with the Sentinel. Peter's keeping the cake safe but trying to take photos at the same time. Wolverine goes in to kill the ex-Santa, but Peter stops him by throwing the cake. Ex-Santa gets arrested, and Wolverine bakes Peter a new cake. Another just fine one. Could just be the excitement for Spectacular Spider-Man talking, but I just really couldn't get into it.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
Top 3 Spidey shows, and it ain't 2 or 3. This whole show deserves its own video one day, but now is not the time because they took it off Disney+. It starts off with Peter at a villain's bar, interrogating someone who's been reselling Mysterio's tech, when the master planner, who's like the kingpin of this show, sends multiple Spider-Man villains after him. It plays the best intro of all time, and we're off to the raft where the villains are escaping. We get to see Cletus at a therapy meeting with Electro and Otto Octavius before Kraven comes to break them out. Otto stays behind, not wanting to be a villain. The villains get to go meet the master planner. Peter and his friends are ice skating, with Peter trying to get into the pants of everyone there, and burning his tongue on his hot chocolate, which lasts for like 5 minutes, when Electro and Vulture appear and start fighting Peter. Peter starts thinking of how he'll take the two down, with Peter coming to the conclusion that he can use the Vulture's paranoia to take him out. When Electro breaks down the tree, almost crushing people on the rink, he keeps chasing Spider-Man with Peter trapping Electro in melted rubber, because it works like that. Sandman and Rhino appear, also fighting Spider-Man, because they fight in groups of 2, by the way. They've done that this entire show. Rhino and Sandman have Spider-Man, and they're about to unmask him, when Peter jumps out and freezes Sandman and sinks Rhino under the ice. Shocker and Dr. Octopus are here to fight Spider-Man, but turn out to be holograms by Mysterio. He's really going up against Mysterio and Kraven, who's the lion in this show. Peter fights the villain in the mall, which is decorated for Christmas, and Goat Stereo summons an army of bats to attack Peter, who isn't falling for his illusion, and Mysterio's clone blows up, taking down Kraven. Peter finds exactly where Quentin Goat went by shooting a giant web around the mall, finding out where he was. Peter returns to his friends, talking to Gwen about the other stuff in the show, when all the villains get away because the master planner freed them. Peter and May are celebrating Christmas when Peter gives May a portrait of them and Ben, as it's their first Christmas without him. I love this show, man. Everything about it is just perfect. There's only 2 seasons because some assholes at Disney decided to cancel it, but I encourage anybody to check this show out. This episode itself does one of my favorite things that any form of Spider-Man media can do, and that is have Peter use his brain to stop villains. Peter being smart has always been how he stopped the baddies, and the episode has a strong theme on Peter putting his focus towards one specific thing at a time, because the guy has like 3 romance plots. The ending was wholesome. Mysterio was in it. 11 out of 10. I'm not giving them scores, but it's that good.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
The entire story is narrated from Cold Heart's thoughts, and is actually pretty good. Peter's chilling on a rooftop when he sees in the paper that Cold Heart had escaped. He goes out to find her, with them fighting for Peter's turn to ice. Peter wakes up hours later, going to Cold Heart's house and seeing her giving presents to her husband and child. Spider-Man gets her arrested for checking out the apartment to see that the people she was with were dummies, as she had previously lost her family. She's in her cell when Spider-Man leaves her a gift. A photo of her family. This one's really nice, and it gets bonus points for the added perspective of the perceived villain. It's a really wholesome story. It's really short, and who the fuck is Cold Heart? I've never heard of Cold Heart before this.
Who are you people?
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
I don't hate Ultimate Spider-Man, but this show is not it. It starts with Peter swinging around when he spots Shocker robbing a bank. He makes quick work of him and swings off to meet up with his team. He finds Squirrel Girl sleeping, saying that they left a message for Spider-Man, but she falls back asleep. Spider-Man's friends ditched him, and on Christmas Eve, Peter falls off the shield building, not being able to web to it because of the ice, before he wakes up in a retro cartoon world, fighting the Enforcers. Peter tries to swing after the stolen truck, but his web shooters run out, being booed by the crowd, and does an annoying fourth wall rig. Peter remembers that this is one of his old memories, before he had joined S.H.I.E.L.D., and realizes he's dreaming. Peter catches up to the Enforcers and beats them up. when Peter crashes into a lake and wakes up in Christmas Present, where he's fighting Shocker again. The crowd booing him again. Peter gives up being Spider-Man and does the thing. The fucker falls into a drain. Now it's Christmas future and Aunt May's a robot. He's the CEO of Parker Industries. And some goblin robots attack them. And Nova's there, and I don't know, it kind of sucks. Peter suits up and goes after the Goblin King, who rules the future and has kidnapped Nova and Hawkeye and has killed all the other heroes. They start fighting, and Peter's throwing the guy around before his Devil Spider-Man, who I haven't mentioned the entire time because they're just annoying little bastards, turn into Nightmare, who's been giving him these nightmares. Whilst Peter has been feeding it to nightmares, he was trying to show Peter how good his life would be if he wasn't Spider-Man. Peter fights Nightmare, who sends him to like hell. They continue fighting. Peter kicks Nightmare's ass and wakes up to Nova telling him that they helped Peter and got May her present. The team celebrates Christmas together with May, and Peter got May a clock because she's old. Very mediocre. I didn't mention the little devil and angel on his shoulder because they're annoying as fuck and contribute next to nothing to the plot. I wish I never have to watch Ultimate ever again.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas.
Another Ultimate Spider-Man episode. That's nice. Peter's decorating a demonic Christmas tree as he's house-sitting for the Sanctum Sanctorum when he enters a room that Doctor Strange expressively told him not to enter. Peter stumbles out of the room and sees a little girl screaming for help. Peter goes to help him when Moon Knight attacks them. Peter fights Moon Knight to protect the little girl. When Moon Knight is saying she's a demon, Peter takes the kid into the Sanctorum. The kid tells Peter she's an orphan and a sad one at that. She's a demon. Just waiting for the reveal at this point. She's evil. The kid enters the Forbidden Room and takes Mysterio Goat's helmet. Moon Knight distracts Peter when the little girl becomes the new Mysterio. It turns out she wasn't a demon.
Ah, poo.
She's actually Mysterio Goat's daughter. They fight and Strange comes back and takes the helmet before it turns out to be Mysterio again. Peter lets Moon Knight in, who helps Peter fight Mysterio, but she's having painful headaches. Khonshu tells Moon Knight to reveal Mysterio's plan and how to stop her. They catch up to her, and she turns inanimate objects to life. They continue fighting until Moon Knight cracks the helmet with the magic wand. Mysterio is about to die when Peter pretends that he can hear Khonshu as well, and that he told him to help her because he doesn't want to kill her. And it works! Peter goes into her memories of her and her father when it turns out to actually be Quentin in there, and Quentin frees them all after being trapped in the helmet since he died in it. Strange comes back and is furious with Spider-Man, by the way. It was still fine. I think Ultimate Spider-Man just aims for a younger audience, that it just comes off as predictable and unfunny. It certainly isn't bad, but it's mainly the damn chimp noise. I think they used it like 8 times this episode.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
Spider-Man is on a billboard watching the Avengers Christmas party he wasn't invited to that Deadpool was hosting, before Deadpool's kicked out for giving an offensive present to Kate Bishop. The gift is incredibly funny, by the way. It's a shirt that says, "I killed the Hulk and all I got was this lousy t-shirt." Deadpool meets up with Spidey, with him confronting him about the missing invitation, with Deadpool responding with ignorance. Meanwhile, there's a bald old dude going around killing everyone celebrating Christmas. The two are about to go their own ways when a buggy that's on fire goes past them. They investigate and see an evil Santa killing people. He starts fighting them because they're wearing red and those are Santa colors, I don't know. It turns out evil Santa was Saturn, the titan of Capital Sour and Father Time. They catch up to him and he turns huge, much like the ending of Ghostbusters. They decide to try to teach him Christmas spirit and show him that his holiday and Christmas are celebrated relatively the same, and shows him drinking, ice skating, dancing, horse riding. This one isn't about Saturn, but Deadpool gives Spider-Man a soda that has the same effect as LSD on him. So they go gambling with a bunch of villains, and Saturn has the time of his life and undoes everything. Deadpool and Spider-Man give each other presents, both accidentally giving each other sweaters of them as the bad boys. Not bad at all. It was more Deadpool focused, but I don't mind, and I didn't like it when they were mean to Spider-Man. I like that they used the policy that Spider-Man can't be shown drinking beer, and right after have him trip on LSD. It's pretty funny. I like the cap side plot that I didn't mention because it's like 2 panels.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
Peter, have you seen Bootsy? I can't find that kitty cat anywhere.
I don't know, Aunt May. He went to school to learn some 6-7.
It's the kids show. The Spider Buddies are at the mall, checking out the tree as Gwen and her mom are lighting it. They meet with May and Miles' family. Gwen lights a tree, but it doesn't work, and was hijacked by Dr. Octopus, who's taking everyone's presents. The Spider-Reno suit up, and why the fuck is he called Spin?
Not okay!
My goat cannot be sidelined like this. I did not know about this until now, but they've been trying to replace Miles' superhero name with Spin, which is dog shit. Doc Ock, who's a lesbian now, is stealing all the gifts, and the Spideronian cheeses come in to stop him. Doc Ock is doing this because no one ever gives her Christmas presents. The Christmas tree is running rampant, stealing more presents. The Spinaholics find out that there's an ornament on the tree, and that's what's controlling it. Doc Ock steals a bag with the spider tracer in it, leading them to her location. They stop her, take back all the presents, light up the tree, and there's 2 episodes in this. The fuck? Dobby on Ice. The Spider-Millipedes are at Central Park, with Miles separated and breaking his comm device. When the Green Goblin, who looks like the Goblin from Clash, he brings a kid snowman to life to attack the kid. Miles spots the Goblin and springs into action. Miles breaks Goblin's controller, stopping his evil doings. They leave, and the controller brings another snowman to life. Miles catches up to Peter and Gwen and tells them about the Goblin when the giant snowman comes up on them. They suit up and call him Spin again.
Not okay!
Ghost Spider saves a squirrel, and it's a reference to Superman 2025. Something I'd rather be watching. The snowman is chasing after Gobby, who's on ice. Who's on ice? Spider-Man saves Gobby while Spider-Man is trying to pull it out, but it's stuck. They find a way to stop it by opening the back and ripping the cords out. Again, it's a kid's show, so I can't be too harsh on it, but there's nothing much I can say about it other than being like a good Paw Patrol, mainly because it doesn't have rubble. I don't know why they're trying to call him Spin now. Started out in the kids show, that's fine. Kids need to be able to differentiate them, I guess. But when we move it out of the baby show, we've got a problem. Looking at you, Joe Kelly.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
So, as I was editing this video, I find out I missed an episode. So I go to add that when I find out an episode had aired last night. I'm not gonna put that episode or any of these ones like in chronological order because I'd rather save the actually good ones for last. But think of these 2 episodes as stocking stuffers. The intro's growing on me a little bit. I might be a sleeper age player, but it's kind of a banger. Miles and Gwen's family are at May's for Thanksgiving dinner. Wait a minute. This isn't a Christmas episode. Alright, second half. And the second half of the episode is called Merry Christmas, Spidey. It's the holiday gift donation drive when Team Spidey show up to say hi to everyone. Spider-Man lights up the tree when Gobby, Rhino, and Electro show up. Electro absorbs the lights. They go to stop her, but Rhino and Gobby appear. Miles and Peter go after the Goblin, whose Goblin bombs are just jello. So, when he's about to throw one at the mayor, there's no stakes in the slightest. They web up Gobby and Rhino. Electro sings a terrible song, and everyone there is sad. The spiders light it up by shooting their glow webs everywhere, putting on a show for the people there, and decorating the tree. Goblin and Rhino are angry that the Spider-Renos had fixed what they had broken. A boy whose toy got destroyed in the drive asks Miles to make him a toy when Miles makes him a little web bear. When the Spider-Men put the gingerbread town back together with their webs and give the leftovers to the people, the Spideys give some of the gingerbread to the villains, who like the little gingerbread, and please keep watching, I'm almost at the good stuff. Electro comes back and sees that no one cares about her ruining the celebration. The Spideys show up to stop her when she frees the others when Gobby and Rhino don't want to help after becoming happy after all that gingerbread. The Spideys ask her to join them for the holiday. Electro gives back the electricity after becoming happy. Everyone's celebrating, and there's a wholesome little Christmas song, and the villains are having fun too, giving back to people. It's a baby show. My intellectual mind can't even begin to consume such shallow content.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
Hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live.
Side note, when I was going to this one on Disney Plus, I saw an episode that had Spider Island in the name, and I thought, no way, Spider Island got adapted in this show. And I was wrong, and it was some bullshit where they were pirates. What do you mean you never heard of Spider Island? There's a little street side celebration where they select who gets to walk with the candle that night, and they also confirm that Miles' dad is a park ranger in this show, because cops are too adult and sad or something. Anyways, Jeff is the candle carrier who gets to walk and carry the light to the tree. Meanwhile, the Green Goblin, Rhino, and Hydro Man are plotting to stop them. Why is Hydro Man here? I've never seen Hydro Man adapted in, like, anything ever. I don't know. Anyways, the villains are fighting over whose plan they're gonna do, and they split up, and Hydro Man looks like Sigma Bateman. Spidey's find out about it and suit up. Jeff is walking with the candle when Rhino comes to get him. The Spidey gang show up and chase after him when he pushes a woman in her donut cart. When Miles and Gwen come in to save her, Jeff thinks he had escaped the Rhino when he chases after him on a skateboard. When the Rhino knocks off some snow from the trees onto them, when they go over to help out Jeff, who kept the candle safe, well, Rhino is stuck in the tree. Jeff leaves and the Goblin shows up with his super duper candle blower outer fan. Jeff keeps the candle safe when the Spideys show up to stop him. They stop Gobby and take away his super duper candle blower outer fan. They web up Gobby before Hydro Man shows up, who's just gonna put it out cause it's fire and he's the water guy. The spiders can't web him, so they take the super duper candle blower outer after him. Hydro Man makes it rain onto Jeff and the candle, when the community gives him a line of umbrellas to get him out of the rain. When Hydro Man is about to do a water tornado, the Spideys show up and blow snow onto him and freeze him. The Spideys go back to being kids, and they all light the candles. They play the same song from the last episode, and they have a happy holiday. The Santa Trap. This aired yesterday, and I'm still mad. Miles is telling his little sister about Christmas, and how awesome it is. Peter and Gwen show up and bring cookies. They get a notice that Santa's in trouble when they suit up to go help. They get there and find a sleigh and reindeer, but no Santa. They find out Santa had fallen into a trap set by the Trap Master, who I've never heard of. She shows them that she has trapped Santa, and oh my god, that sounds like Principal Lewis. And oh my god, that is Principal Lewis. The Spideys get thrown into another trap. The spiders find out this room is made of candy cane and is really sticky, so they can't touch them. They web up to the top and climb them, and avoid the gumball shooters and web them up. They get out and move on to the next trap. Santa tells Trickster that no one will get their presents, and shows Snapster that Christmas isn't about getting presents. The next trap is a giant... Oh, retake that. Santa tells Trickster that no one will get their presents, and shows Trapster that Christmas isn't about getting presents. Rather, it's about giving, which Trapster does not care. The next trap is a giant Christmas gift room, with an evil nutcracker that shoots lasers at them. The spiders see another door and trick the nutcracker to destroy the keypad so the doors open. They get to Trapster and free Santa, with the nutcracker targeting Trapster. They say bye to Santa and go after the nutcracker. They save the Trapster when Trapster talks to Santa, with Santa telling her that thinking of others and not only ourselves is how we spread holiday cheer. Santa leaves to go deliver presents. Trapster sets up a trap to stop the nutcracker by throwing a giant snowball at it. Miles wakes up the next morning when Miles gets a nutcracker from Santa, and how the fuck do they have a secret base above Aunt May's house? This thing is huge, and how has no one pointed it out? Secret identity my ass. It's still a kid's show. It's got basic messages and stories, easy for a kid to consume, but I think this show does a few things right. I like that the suit looks clean and classic, and yeah, that's it.
Spidey!
Oh wait, Peter, you don't need to look for Bootsy. You know why? He's in military school!
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
I've already read Ultimate Spider-Man so far. I plan to make a video on it eventually, and I feel as though this one doesn't make, like, any sense if you haven't read the rest of the series up to this point. So I'd advise you to do that if you want to understand anything I'm about to say. It opens with Ben and Jonah arriving to the Parker Christmas party. They're surprised to see that Gail is there, Mary Jane's sister, and so is her mother. Both have been in and out from all of their lives, so it's surprising that they're here. Gail goes to May and asks if she had remembered her, to which she says she's only seen photos, as she had been absent almost her entire life. Mary Jane gets calls from Gwen, to which she lets go to voicemail. Mary Jane asked when she was gonna apologize after what she had done, because Gail said that Mary Jane could have done better than Peter and that having kids was making her mistake permanent. We cut to Ben talking to Aunt Anna and Madeline, when Anna mentions that Gail is getting divorced again. Peter and MJ talk, while Peter is being mysteriously quiet. When Richard and Jonah have a talk about Jonah giving him a copy of his book, they talk about 2 chapters of Jonah's book, the 2 being Finding Love in the Big City and I Don't Know Shit, but I Sure Act Like I Do. Richard tells Jonah that the book is really good, and that he's surprised that it didn't sell that good. Meanwhile, MJ asks Gail to meet halfway and asks why she's here. Gail tells her about her husband having an affair, and how they're getting a divorce, and how all the people around her have known for several years, and just held it from her. She came to compare her situation to MJ's average family, and saw that in reality, hers has always been worse. Mary Jane forgives her, and they hug. Really big spoiler warning, but MJ finally picks up the call from Gwen, with Gwen telling her that Harry had been missing for a week. MJ asks Peter what he knows about this, and when she touches his shoulder, it turns out Peter has actually been replaced this whole time with the symbiote. Except it's a robot AI thing. You've had to have read it to get it, and you should have read it because I said spoiler warning, and I'm making you read it now. That's your fucking homework.
Darn it, fractions are so hard. What'd you get for number 4?
She said don't share answers!
And it turns out Peter and Harry have actually been kidnapped and being tortured by Craven. I really like Ultimate Spider-Man, but this is one of many issues in the second half where it's just lore dumping. Ultimate Spider-Man is more lore driven, but there is way too little action. It's not bad, the lore is enticing, but we're almost at the end of the Ultimate Universe, and Peter has fought 3 different people, and we haven't seen the Kingpin for like a year. The issue is good though, and I like MJ and her side of the family. We don't really get to see them that much.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
I own this one physically. Hope you know that. This is the final Spider-Man Christmas related issue as of December 2025, and I've been holding off on reading it just for this video. It had given me the idea in the first place, and now I will read and discuss Spider-Man Holiday Spectacular 2025. Peter is celebrating Hanukkah with the Fantastic Four and a bunch of other heroes when Peter gets a call from Aunt May saying she won't be in town for Christmas. Ben Grimm overhears it and Peter goes home early. The next morning, Peter wakes up to an invitation to the Avengers Christmas party now held in space. He arrives and talks to some of the other heroes. Strangely, all the other heroes are actually being nice to Peter, inviting him to spend the holidays with them, with Peter accepting all of their offers. They have a great time and Peter leaves and meets with Daredevil, who bring presents to the kids in the refugee center. They're bringing the gifts to invoke a little bit of Santa magic to the children, having them believe he had really come. The next day, Spider-Man meets with the X-Men. They talk for a while and have a gift exchange and go out to play some baseball. Peter's sad, mainly due to the fact he can't spend Christmas with May, who's currently in the Caribbean. Spider-Man and Wolverine talk about how nice everyone's being, and Wolverine tells him that Ben Grimm had spilt the beans that he would be alone this holiday, and how they didn't feel pity for Peter, and everyone was actually arguing over who got to have Peter over for Christmas. One of the New Mutants I don't know the name of tells Peter he got a call from May, whose ship has been turned around due to mechanical errors. Gambit gets him back to Queens, and he meets back with May. They spend the holiday together, and May tells Peter the cruise was rescheduled to the week after, and they go on it together. I like this issue a lot. I think my favorite part is the other heroes actually respecting Spider-Man. It's a nice change of pace after like a decade of them hating his guts for plot reasons. I like all the other heroes except for the one X-Men I didn't know the name of, but either way, this is an amazing issue I strongly encourage you to check out. It is probably the most like wholesome one I've read, throughout the 50 years of issues. I strongly encourage you that you check this out.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
I just read 50 years worth of Spider-Man holiday stories. There's been ups, downs, and single panel clickbait, but I liked the overall experience. I feel as though I'm a lot more jolly after reading all of these comics. Typically during the holidays, I'm a bit of a Grinch. I've always cared more about what I get than what I give. But after this experience, I find myself cherishing the people around me and the holiday. I look forward to whatever they put out in the future. Who knows? Maybe this video will be outdated within a week. But I'm proud to say I read all of them. So to everyone who's made it to the end, I hope you have a very happy holiday from me here at Funny Funny. The next video is Cuphead, by the way.